What adventurers you all are. I had no idea. Honestly, I'm a little surprised, I'm going to be honest with you, how excited you are all about going on this hike with me. And every time I do a video talking about gear, a lot of gear junkies out there just like me, you get just as excited as I do. And so today I'm going to answer some of the questions that I have been seeing in comments in response to some of the videos that I have done already about my 1,000-mile hike on the Pacific Crest Trail. Today I'm going to answer the questions about why I'm carrying an Anker battery backup instead of a solar panel. I'm going to talk to you about the books. A lot of you have been asking what books I recommend for the Pacific Crest Trail. And finally, I'm going to talk about why I'm not making my own food, why I'm not doing a dehydrator and making my own dehydrated food, especially since I have so many diet restrictions. So stay tuned. I'm going to answer all those questions for you and more.
Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
Hey friendlies, I'm Carolyn, and welcome back to my tent life. Welcome back to my adventurous life, whatever mode it is at the moment. So the first question a lot of you have asked when I did the video talking about how I'm going to keep my electronics charged on the trail, a lot of you asked, why am I doing a portable power bank instead of a solar panel? And it's a really good question. I struggled with the decision for months. I did a lot of research, did a lot of reading, and part of me was thinking, I don't want to take a finite source of power. When this runs out, that's it until I get to town and I'm able to recharge it. Whereas a solar panel, I can, in theory, keep charging. I can keep getting power as long as I have sun. Well, there's a bunch of reasons that I decided to go with the Anker power bank instead of a solar panel. Number one, I used a Suntactics solar panel on the John Muir Trail. And while at first I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a solar panel again, I'm really glad I did more research because there were a few considerations I hadn't thought about. Number one, the John Muir Trail is a lot above tree line. And even being above tree line so much, I had a hard time keeping even just my cell phone charged. I strapped it to the top of my pack and I would hike with it on my pack, and in theory I would be charging my phone all day long, right? Well, it was a very, very heavy, back then it was very heavy and unusual fire season, and the skies were very smoky, and something about the cords, I kept hearing it go on and off and on and off and on and off throughout the day. So literally it would take a couple of days, I don't know, 12 hours. It would take a long time, and I think it might have been like a 25-watt solar panel, Suntactics, a little fold one, I don't remember. And when I started researching and looking at other Facebook groups and other people who've hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, everybody recommended the Anker, and I started realizing when I'm hiking through Oregon and Washington, there's a lot of tree coverage. I'm going to be in the forest a lot, which makes a solar panel extremely inefficient. I'm not sitting around for 3 hours being able to place a solar panel, position it perfectly in the sun to get things charged. I'm going to be on the trail all day. And most of the time we hike pretty much from the time we get up in the morning until the time, until dusk. So it's not like I'm going to be able to, like I said, I'm not going to be able to optimize the sun that will be available. So I'm actually not going to be able to take advantage of the sun at its best times because I'm going to be hiking. And so that was really the main reason I decided to go with a power bank instead. This is like a 10,000 Power Core 10,000. I can get like 2.3 Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus charges out of this. The Samsung Galaxy S10 has an extremely, amazingly good battery life. So far, it's been really, really good. And so that's one of the reasons I decided to go with this. It's more reliable. And even though it's a finite source of power, which at first I really was against, for this trip, I decided this was the better option. And the second question a lot of you have been asking me is, what books do I recommend for hiking the Pacific Crest Trail? I didn't do like a handbook, how-to book for this trip. I did for the John Muir Trail. I can't even remember which one it was at this point. There are a couple of memoir-like books about the Pacific Crest Trail that I absolutely loved, that I read a few years ago, I think before I even did the John Muir Trail. And they're kind of journals of the trail, and those really inspired me, and I think I did learn a lot from them. So my favorites are, of course, Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Through Hiking Will Break Your Heart, I think is the name of it, by Carrot Quinn. She's really, a lot of people really know her. She does a lot of hiking and just a lot of cool stuff, and I think she's written a few books. And the third one is Hiker Trash, and I can't remember the author of that one, but it's another woman, and it's called Hiker Trash. So those were like my three big, most inspirational books as far as what life is like on the trail, and they were all written by women, interestingly enough. So very good books, very good journals about life on the trail. So if you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend that. Other than that, for this trip, all I did is buy a book of maps because I wanted to bring paper maps with me on the trail and not just rely on the Guthooks app, which is a very popular app that a lot of PCT hikers use to navigate the trail. And also it outlines water sources and camping spots and trail junctions and where you can get resupplies. It's a really great app, but I didn't want to rely on that. I wanted backup, so I bought a book. It was the PCT Pocket Maps book, and I can't find them right now, but I ripped out the sections that I would need and mail them to myself, and so I'm just carrying a few pages of that book with me as I travel, and I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. But so that's it for books. And the third question I'm seeing a lot is, why am I not getting a dehydrator and making my own food, since I do mostly plant-based and gluten-free? And why did I decide to go and buy everything at Harmony House instead? And Harmony House has a lot of amazing, great vegan, dehydrated everything. You can buy soup mixes pre-made, and you can buy all the raw ingredients and put them all together yourself. And that video is coming up. I'm going to show you when I did my food resupply. I'm going to show you what it took to get together 90 days of food and what I did with the Harmony House ingredients and how I made meals out of those. And that video is coming up, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that. But why did I go with Harmony House instead of dehydrating my own food? I live in an RV. That's the easiest answer. When I did the John Muir Trail, I was only out for about 26, 27 days, and I did make, I think, all my own food, all my own dinners. I dehydrated everything, and it took probably about a month of planning to do that. And basically what I would do is, if I was making a big pot of curry, I would make extra and just throw it in the dehydrator, and it could sit in the dehydrator for 12, 18 hours. And then I'd have 3-4 meals for the trail. And I did that literally like over 4 or 6 weeks. I did that. Well, I live in a small space now. I live in 160 square feet. I also don't have unlimited electricity. I think a lot of people don't realize, because I boondock, I don't have 120, 110 volt electrical outlets. I can't just plug something into the wall. Yes, I have an inverter and I have a power strip coming out from that, but that's just in one spot in my RV all the way in the front, and it's just kind of a pain, actually. And I don't know, a dehydrator probably wouldn't have a huge draw. It would actually probably be really small, but to be able to make 90 days worth of meals living in a small space like an RV, and my dehydrator was big and bulky and clunky, and then finding a place to put that and being able to have a designated place and plug it in where it would, not have to be moved around. I mean, I live in a small space, and sometimes it's kind of like one of those puzzles where you have to move this to get to that, and you have to move this to get to that, and it just didn't make sense logistically for me to dehydrate my food this time. I did actually carry my dehydrator with me for the first year of my RV life, thinking if I ever do a through hike again or ever do a long hike again, I would dehydrate my own food. But when I bought my new RV, I decided I'm not carrying this thing around anymore. I'm not going to use it. And at this point, I didn't want to go out and buy a new one just to dehydrate food for this trail. And also, time is a thing. I just didn't really have the time between work and training hikes and all the planning that I was doing to prepare for this trip, to add another to do on that list, have to make meals, have to hydrate meals, have to repackage the meals, and then having to, what's that called? The airtight, what are those called? the airtight. So with the Harmony House foods, I felt comfortable. They were dry enough. I could just repack those in Ziplocs. But with the dehydrated food, I don't know why. I use the airtight thingy, the machine that airtights things. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of it. You know what I'm talking about. And that would have been another thing I had to buy, another thing I would have had to have on board, more stuff to do. And it just logistically, again, it just didn't make sense for me. So I decided to go the easier route and just buy pre-dried foods and put them together and make my own with different spices and different ingredients. And hopefully I'm going to have enough variety on this trip that I won't get bored and sick of it, although I probably will. It's all mush at the end of the day. But that's it. Those are the questions you have been asking me the most right now. If you have more questions, feel free to leave comments below, and I will be answering your questions in future videos. All right, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. Mwah. I'll see you soon.